Hello everyone and welcome back to Magic World Reactions. In this video today, we're taking a look at a video comment that I got and it said react to Geography Now, Denmark. So before going into this video, I don't really know much about Denmark, but I am willing to learn. I do want to learn, so that's why I'm making this reaction video. And Geography Now always have some interesting videos. So if you guys want more reactions to more videos about Denmark, if I find it interesting, I'll go and check them out. So let's get right into the reaction video for today, guys. Let's go.
In the Angola episode, I mentioned how I went to Denmark one time and bought a sandwich that was $21. Well, this was that sandwich, and my reaction was like, $21? Oh, this better be the best sandwich I've ever had in my life. You got lucky.
Okay, $21 for a sandwich. That's pretty crazy, I have to say. $21, no matter how good the sandwich is, I don't think I could pay that. I don't think I could.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbie.
I love that intro.
Legos, Vikings, and Roll med flor. We got a lot to cover, so let's jump in. Denmark, the link between the rest of Europe and Scandinavia. So much to discuss. Denmark is classified as a Nordic country, hence located in the Northern European region, even though it's kind of like the southernmost state in the Nordics. Full disclaimer, ignore Wikipedia. I'm gonna pronounce the location names in their proper Danish context. So here we go. Denmark is made of the Jutland, not Jutland, peninsula that connects to Germany in the south, as well as 1,419 islands. Of those, only 443 are named, and 74 are inhabited. With the largest island being Sjælland, not Zealand, which is not to be confused with Dutch Zeeland, which is not to be confused with New Zealand.
Okay, now this is getting a bit confusing.
That's too much information.
It is connected to Fyn Island, not Finn Island, by the Great Belt Bridge completed in 1998. The country is divided into 5 regions, the capital being Copenhagen, located on Sjælland. Copenhagen is home to a myriad of historical sites, palaces, statues, residential units that are all the same height and style, with pockets of colorful, quaint, cozy shops and cafes, and dangerous bicycle lanes that...
Yeah, Copenhagen is definitely the place that I think of when I think of Denmark. That's where most tourists go, to Copenhagen. It's just a really famous place. A lot to do. A lot to do.
You are not supposed to walk on. Now this is where things
never go on the bike. Never walk in the bike lanes,
by
guys.
Spiced up, I mean freezing cold and covered in whale blubber. Denmark, for those of you who didn't know, is a kingdom, one of the last surviving ones in Europe, and is currently under the headship of chain-smoking Queen Margaret II. These still fall under Danish sovereignty and make up the massive Greenland Island and the Little Faroe Islands. Both of these places are radically different from mainland Denmark. For one, Greenland is primarily inhabited by native Inuit tribal peoples that live on the island and is 80%
wow, look at the
ice
scenery.
year-round. The
that is
Faroe
so
Islands
cool.
are a conglomeration of 20-ish mystical, cloudy, windy islands that have this crazy-looking lake that looks like it's about to spill over the cliffs into the ocean. These two areas have their own self-governing home rule, otherwise only depending on Denmark for military, justice, currency, and foreign affairs. Otherwise, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, historically, they did try to kind of create an empire by calling...
Both of those places look absolutely astounding. They look like something you would see in a movie or something.
Colonizing parts of the Caribbean, Ghana, India, and then in the Nicobar Islands in the Indian Ocean, but they kind of ran out of money and ended up selling everything to other countries. Too bad. It would be awesome to see people in the Indian Ocean speaking Danish. Nonetheless, mainland Denmark is kind of like a fast-moving economic machine. Let's talk about how. Now, when it comes to land makeup, Denmark is pretty flat. I mean, the highest point, Møllehøj, is only about 170 meters tall and it looks like this. Otherwise, only about 13% of the country is forested, including the tree plantations, and the rest is pretty much used for agriculture that can produce enough food to feed about 15 million people. It's about 3 times the size of their entire population. Good for you, Denmark. But one thing Denmark is actually famous for growing is non-produce plants like grass, fodder, and Christmas trees. The highly sought-after Danish Nordmann fir has been classified as the Rolls-Royce of Christmas trees, and every year investors from Germany, the Netherlands, and even the UK jump in at the end of November and grab whatever they can before it's gone. Now,
so people like import Christmas trees over from Denmark. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I didn't really know much about that. I just get like a standard Christmas tree every year.
One thing you need to know is that like many other areas,
so some people do go all out for the Christmas tree.
Quite dreary. First of all, Denmark is the only Nordic country that doesn't really get a lot of snow. Denmark is kind of like the mud pit located below the jet stream blocked by Norway and the UK. This means that even though it gets really cold, pressure systems rarely cause snow. This is also pretty much why everybody dresses like a J. Crew fall fashion line model on the streets. If you're gonna get wet and freezing, you may as well look good while doing it. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, pretty much the rest of Denmark is just rolling green plains with sandy beaches and quirky little islands that people like to hop over for camping trips in the summer. If we were gonna talk about Greenland and the Faroe Islands, we would get a radically different story of mind-boggling, captivating cliffs, bluffs, sea stacks, glaciers, fissures, icebergs, and mountains. If you don't know what a Mulan is, it's not this, but this.
This Mulan is
Oh,
large enough
that
to
looks
swallow a
so
school bus.
nice.
But we'll have to save that for another video that'll come out in 9,374 years. In the meantime, let's talk about the people. Now this is gonna get really fun. Denmark's people are really unique in their cultural, historical, and postmodern upbringing. First of all, the country has about 5.7 million people and is one of the highest taxed countries in the world. About 89% of the country identifies as ethnically Danish, about 11% are others. Some of the largest groups in the other category being the Polish, Germans, Turkish, Romanians, Iraqis, and Afghans. Now when it comes to Danish culture, there's a lot behind it, but in a nutshell, Vikings. Vikings pretty much had their start in what is now present-day Denmark and whom pretty much dominated all of the Nordic regions as far as Newfoundland in Canada to Estonia, which is why most of the Nordic states and regions can pretty much understand each other when they talk. Danes, Swedes, Norwegians, and Icelanders can generally understand each other as they have the same basic linguistic structure. Sure, there are subtle discrepancies, but overall they can kind of get by conversationally.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
The
The fact that they can all just communicate together like that.
Granted, there's a saying, the Norwegian and Swedish languages sound like dancing fairies, whereas the Danish language sounds like a dude with a potato in his mouth. By the way, anybody who wants
Oh,
to
they
learn
really
Danish,
did them
full
dirty
disclosure,
there.
it's gonna suck. The J makes the Y sound, the Y makes the U sound, the V makes a W sound, the R makes a R sound, the H is
Okay, yeah, that just sounds confusing already,
silent
guys.
half the time. A ton of the letters are never even used, and don't even get started on A, U, and O. I kind of discovered
Yeah,
a little trick
though
when I
the
went to
circle,
Denmark. When
the
speaking
O with
Danish,
a line
all you
through
really
it,
have
I've
to
seen
do is
that
kinda,
everywhere.
Like, pronounce the first part of the word that you think makes a sound, and then just kind of like give up on the rest of the word. For example, Copenhagen, Nybrogen, Løvstrand. I'm literally just listing names of places in Copenhagen that I've been to. Honestly though, you really won't have much of a problem getting around if you speak English. Over 80% of the entire country, mostly the younger generation, speak
See, I feel that's like with all the Nordic countries. They all speak English as well. So if you speak English, you're fine. But it kind of is nice to learn a little bit of the language. Like I like learning the hellos, the thank yous, the please, just stuff like that.
proficient English to the point where they don't even need subtitles when watching American TV shows and movies. Also, keep in mind, Greenland has its own language that is completely unintelligible as it's an Inuit language closer to the indigenous Inuktitut and Yupik languages found in Canada and Alaska. And Faroese is pretty hard for most Danish people to grasp as it actually has more words rooted in the ancient Norse language and it's actually more intelligible to Icelandic. Back to culture though, Denmark has definitely left its mark, whether it's notable figures like author Hans Christian Andersen, philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, or whether that's actually how you pronounce his name. Wow. It's not Soren
This guy's really good at
Kierkegaard.
pronunciations.
Or whether it be the invention of the loudspeaker or Legos or their love of handball, they're impeccable.
What? I never knew Denmark invented Legos. I used to love Lego as a kid. I used to have Lego Star Wars. That is my favorite. I used to love building the sets.
Architecture, love of cuisine. Noma in Copenhagen, by the way, being voted the best restaurant in the world with plates that feature live ants and moss. If you're really gonna get a feel for Danish culture though, you kind of have to know about janteloven and hygge. The funny thing is, Danes are kind of brought up in a social mindset that is kind of integrated into their subconscious known as janteloven, which kind of translates to something like, you are not better than the crowd, which I know sounds kind of depressing, but it's really trying to instill a sense of equality and communal cooperation. Hygge
that's good.
translates to something like spend good times with friends and family, and it's like a cozy thing. Of course, Denmark is known for being ranked one of the happiest overall countries, even though they are also kind of one of the highest ranked consumers of antidepressants as well. But hey, they still pull off everyday life looking oh so good, even if it's during one of those really loud annual emergency drills.
Okay, Christine, explain what's happening right now.
Denmark is testing the sirens.
What?
Warfare. Yeah, when we're being attacked by the Germans again.
I'm scared.
How often does this happen? They actually test the sirens just in case of an attack. That's crazy.
really scared right now.
Let's run to the security
I thought you don't really need that now because of the internet, the
Germans are
news,
coming!
Speaking
and
of
all the
Germans,
media, really. But I mean, it's kind of a cool thing to have, I guess, part
now,
of
we all know
history.
that one person we're all kind of jealous of because they're kind of rich, well-adjusted, and have a ton of friends, and they're like kind of good-looking. Well, that's Norway. Denmark is a little bit rockier. No, but seriously, for such a small nation, Denmark has a huge entourage of friends, and it's almost kind of hard for anyone in the world to dismiss them at a party. As a founding member of the EU and NATO, Denmark has had roots planted in diplomacy for decades. First off, Denmark generally gets along with Germany. Business between the Germans is a hugely integral part of their economy, and Denmark acts like like the gateway to Scandinavia for them and the rest of Europe. The US and the UK are incredibly close as both tangible and cultural imports have been established for centuries. For a while, the Danes even took over parts of the UK, which is why to this day the English language still retains hundreds of Old Norse-derived words like leg, dog, and window.
What? I never
Closest
knew
friends,
this.
though, would have to be
That's
the
really
Nordic
interesting.
countries: Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Iceland. These four are without a doubt Denmark's closest friends, even though Sweden and them have kind of had more wars and battles historically than any other two states in the world. They've moved on and grown up. Out of the Nordic countries, though, Norway would probably be considered their best friends. Danes are obsessed with Norwegians and often consider Norway the girlfriend they took away from Sweden. In conclusion, Denmark is the rich, rainy rascal that always seems to show up on time for every party, but somehow gets all his work done in an organized, efficient manner. Stay tuned, Djibouti is coming up next.
Okay, so that video is really interesting about Denmark. Like, I learned a lot. I didn't really know much going into it, so obviously I'm going to learn a lot. I knew about it being friends with the other Nordic countries, of course, and they all can kind of understand each other. I knew that. I knew they probably spoke English. I didn't know for certain. But all these Nordic countries, if you go there, you speak English, you'll be fine. But I do like to learn some few words. I kind of would have liked to learn a bit more about the individual places. He kind of touched on a few of them. But I kind of would like to learn a bit more about the place in Denmark. But overall, seems like a very good country to go to, and I would like to learn more. So let me know any other videos about Denmark I should react to in the comment section, and I'll go check them out because I like the video and it seems like a great country to learn about. So anyway, guys, see you in the next video. Have a terrific day, guys.